Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Karma Cards. This week is a continuation of the little mini series that I want to do with you about the hidden secrets in your natal chart. And today we're going to be talking about a hidden secret inside your ascendant or rising sign. For the rest of the video, I'll refer to it as the rising sign so that I don't make it too confusing. Your rising sign is the key to your self-confidence. Now, your rising sign represents the sign that was coming over the horizon at your time of birth. So in order to know what your ascendant or rising sign is, you're going to want to know your time of birth. Now, usually this is on your birth certificate, although I have run across a few people whose birth certificates did not have their time of birth. So if that's the case, ask your parent and ask them what time that you were born, and they'll have a rough idea, because it can be within around an hour or so of that time that you can fall into that general category, and that should give you the key to what your rising sign is. So your rising sign rules your physical body and your direct physical experience of the world. It acts like a filter for your personality to shine through, and it's what other people experience you as when they meet you. So a lot of times people don't experience us as our sun sign, but rather see us more as our rising sign. It's the sign that sort of comes first when we meet people. There is so much that each of the signs in your chart can reveal to you, and that's true with your rising sign as well. But today, we're going to focus on a secret about your rising sign that can help you build your confidence in social situations, especially the ones that feel difficult or awkward, such as job interviews, first dates, meeting someone's parents for the first time, being in large social gatherings, going home for family holiday time. You can actually tap into some of the power of your rising sign to help you glide through these situations. Here's the thing, when we're feeling uncomfortable in social situations, it's usually because our focus is directed on ourselves. It's like we're too self-aware, we're paying attention to what we look like, what we're saying, and what we're doing. And so we're bringing all the focus to us, which can make us feel like we're standing under a white hot spotlight. And a way to naturally shift this is to shift and direct your attention towards someone else, towards how you can be of service or give interest or positive attention to another person. And when we do that, we take all that pressure that we're putting on ourselves off, and then we start giving our attention and energy to someone else, creating a positive scenario. And when you add your rising sign to this, you can do it in a way that naturally benefits the other person and boosts your self-confidence. So if you're ready, if you know your rising sign, let's go. And hey, if you don't, check out my last Karma Cards video up here, and that will show you how to get a free copy of your natal chart so that you can find out immediately what your rising sign is, and then jump back to this video and go to your sign and find out the key to self-confidence. So if your rising sign is in Aries, your natural role that you can step into is that of the independent one. And when you're giving focus and attention to another person, hold the intention of, how can I give you the confidence to make a new beginning? If your rising sign is in Taurus, step into the role of the dependable one. And when you're working or talking with other people, hold the intention of, what do you need to feel comfortable? And if your rising sign is in Gemini, hi, other Geminis. And if your rising sign is in Gemini, step deeper into the role of the communicator. When you're focusing your attention or talking to other people, hold the intention of, what information can I share will be helpful for you? If your rising sign is in Cancer, step into the role of the empathetic one. And when talking with others, hold the intention of, how can I help you feel better? If your rising sign is in Leo, step deeper into the role of the entertainer. And when you're in social settings with other people, focus your attention and intention on how can I cheer you up? If your rising sign is in Virgo, step into the role of the helper. And when in social situations with others, focus your intention on how can I help you? If your rising sign is in Libra, step into the role of the partner. And when talking with others, hold the intention of how can I help you step into a role of greater internal balance. If your rising sign is in Scorpio, step into the role of the change maker. And when in social settings with other people, hold the intention of how can I empower you? If your rising sign is in Sagittarius, step into your role as the optimist. And when in social situations or chatting with others, hold the intention of how can I help you feel more hopeful? If your rising sign is in Capricorn, step fully into your role of the achiever. And when in social settings with others, hold the intention of how can I help you achieve your goals? If your rising sign is in Aquarius, step into your role as the friend. And when in social situations with others, focus on the intention of what insight do you need to help you see the bigger picture? And last but not least, if your rising sign is in Pisces, step into your role of the gentle healer. And when you're in social situations or talking to someone, hold the intention of how can I help you feel that life is not so threatening? Now, as you're listening to the advice of how to build confidence for your rising sign, you might feel like you already do that. And if so, give yourself a pat on the back. You're already there. This isn't about something you don't know. It's about reinforcing what you naturally do because you're already doing this. These statements can help you reground into the truth of who you are and the strength you already carry with you. And just as a fun fact, my rising sign is in Gemini, which is the one who shares information. And look what I'm doing right now. I'm doing what comes natural to me, and you're already doing what comes natural to you. This just helps you see it, and once you see it and have that awareness, you can call on it for strength. So if you're enjoying this content, please give it a thumbs up, put a comment below, like, share, subscribe, but let me know, do you like this content? Would you like to have more of this content? It really helps me create for you things that are helpful, fun, and informative, and I appreciate your feedback. And with that, let's go into this week's karma card. Okay, if you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what message do you have for us this week? And I have 3 sets of answers, but this week, boom, 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 I actually have, no, come on now, I actually have 4. So we got 2 places in our life that are coming up. I'm going to go deeper into that in a second. So I have answers here in red, which are action-related answers, and answers here in blue, which are outcome-related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel, what do you need this week? Are you looking for action-related guidance, or are you interested to see how things unfold over the next week? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're doing that, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for December 14th through December 21st, which happens to be the winter solstice. And the flavor of this reading, okay, we've got Venus, love getting Venus, love, right? So we know it's going to be focusing on loving and relationship and creating. And the side of Sagittarius, which represents that higher mind or our expanding consciousness. And the 2 areas that came up today, came out at the same time, are the 8th house of mystery and the 10th house, which also showed up last week, which is about what we're putting out in the world. So this will be a really interesting read. Let's check it out. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to cherish your highest ideals as a life or death issue responsibly. So a little drama and then a little practicality mixed together there. Yeah, so the ideals, again, let's talk about what ideals are. So this is the highest version of what you think life is, or what you think on a certain subject, the best possible outcome, the best place it's going. Cherish that. That is the energy the universe is asking us to step into. Big things are coming, and cherish it with seriousness and responsibility. See it as your responsibility at this time to hold and love these big visions of what's coming, right? This is how we shape and create the new earth. This is how we quicken the ascension process, because holding those ideals puts you in that higher vibration, and enough people hit that, it's go time, right? So that's just kind of, and we're getting a massive influx of energy right now. Today, we have crazy amount of solar flares going on. If you're having tech issues, today's Wednesday the 14th. If you're having tech issues, hi, welcome. Those are solar flares. I've got a couple of those myself. Electrical issues, you are being imbued with so much electrical energy because we're hydroelectric beings. When we get these solar influxes, we get an increase, an amp in our energy. When we get this amp in our energy, imagine what that does to your vibration, right? Imagine a car or a motorcycle revving, and as it revs up, right? That revving of energy, it floods your vibration and it pushes it out even further. That's why they're saying it's a life and death issue. It means it's time. It is time. And responsibly mean like take it seriously, right? Be responsive to the energy coming in. It's such an exciting time. I love this statement. And I take it on. I take the challenge and I will do this. All right, your mental action at this time. Enjoy the rules of getting and using power and success. It's really interesting because I'm asking my team, what are the rules of getting and using power? And they said, the power that you get is not meant for you. It's meant for the world. It's meant to go out. That's why we're here in this physical plane. When we're in the non-physical, we're manifesting for ourselves and for others too, but it's more direct. It's more like happening now. On this plane, part of it is to learn to balance power. That's one of the rules. So that's why we see corruption happen when someone gets too much power. And they actually talk about that in the Law of One, about how that we're meant to balance love, wisdom, and power. These are the three things that need to be in balance. And when all three are present and working together, we're working in the highest peaks of our energy and potential. And so the rules of getting and using power is, it's just like, okay, every movie about magic, right? When you see something about magic, it's like most of the time the rule is you can never conjure for yourself. It has to be for someone else. And then it's pure magic, and then it comes through and it works correctly. And what you usually see is if someone conjures for themselves, it goes horribly wrong. That's the rule of getting and using power. You will get this power, but you must use it to serve others. And it says enjoy that fact, enjoy it. And that's what creates success, because ultimately what you give out in the world, you do get back. It's just not a direct feed, right? It's not directly fed to you. And that's one of the reasons why in this lower density and dimension, where we've lost so much of this knowledge and memory, we are not given our amazing extrasensory abilities at full throttle because of the potential to misuse it or use it for the self. And so first we must grow spiritually. We must spiritually mature. And then we will have access to the power, because then we will remember this is actually not for self-serving purposes, but rather how can I serve the collective? Remembering I'm connected to everything. So that's a great message to get. It's very wise, and it's asking us to enjoy it. Like, recognize the benefit of that rule of power. Physical action at this time. Charm and beauty are the way to get it out in the world, use other people's resources, and become a person of power and status. This is really interesting because basically what this is saying to me is that whatever you're trying to convey to the world, right, we don't have to hit people over the head with it, that it's not going to land by forcing other people to understand it. This is why the messages from benevolence and higher energies and those in a higher vibration always are gentle, always are sort of soft spoken, because you don't have to step with a heavy foot to relay these messages. And it is a kind of a reminder that whatever we try to force on others will get rejected. You can't force someone to see your perspective, no matter how beneficial that perspective might be to another. And so rather through charm, art, and beauty, right? So the soft spoken, or the holding of space or love, or even expression in the forms of art or music is so much more powerful and persuasive, but not in a manipulative way, but rather in an inspiring way. And they're like, this is how you get this message out into the world. And by doing so, you raise your status or raise your frequency. You stand in that power, your beautiful sovereignty, and use other people's resources, which for me in this case means like use things like social media. This is not your resource. It's a shared resource. Someone else put it out there, but it gives you the opportunity to share it. So ways like that where you're sharing platforms. I really get that it's so they're sort of hitting right now. My team is hinting at social media, things like put your music on SoundCloud, or put your art on Instagram, or post it somewhere. Like that's how you use these resources that are available to all of us to send that message out, and do that in a way where it's inspirational rather than forceful. Right, so now let's look at the outcomes for Venus in Sagittarius in the 8th and 10th houses. The spiritual outcome at this time is the attraction of insights to understand personal power and your destiny. I always love it when it says something like that. That's pretty straightforward. So again, more insightful energy as you move in this direction. You're going to understand your ability, your personal power, and your destiny, your mission, why you're here. The purpose of everything becomes clearer through this loving, gentle approach where you hold that higher vibration intentionally. Mental outcome at this time: pleasure from the wisdom of the mysteries of life and where you are going. Oh, I mean, that screams ascension to me. Pleasure from the wisdom of the mysteries of life and where you're going. Ascension. It's like you're going to feel this more. It's right here. It's right here. This energy, this place that we're going, this big, huge moment. We're in this corridor of the finale, of the big moment. We're really close. Whether we can track that or not, that's really difficult. And if you spend time trying to pinpoint when that's going to happen, it's kind of like that's torture. And we do that to ourselves with other subjects too. When will I get paid? When will I, buy this client? Or when will I find the one, right? We can torture ourselves with trying to nail it into a time slot. That's not really how it works on these bigger levels. Instead, it's divine timing, and it has to do with, a certain amount of energy moving in the same direction for things to really roll. But it's right there, and you can feel it if you tap in with your heart. So again, the pleasure comes from the wisdom, which means this knowing, and that wisdom lives in the heart. So tap into the heart, and you're going to feel that connection to this ascension energy, to your own destiny, to the place that you're going. This has been chosen by you on a soul level. And that's not to say that you don't have any input or say now. But when you're choosing the same as you chose at the soul level, you feel it it hits you different. It hits you in a real visceral way. And so all of this, I mean, again, last week's reading felt good. This week's reading feels even better, and it's got me amped and excited. I hope you are too. One more to go, okay? The physical outcome at this time. Good times resulting from the understanding of a major change and your career. All right, so your career, if that's not resonant for you, because it doesn't always resonate for people, this can also mean what you put out in the world. So what I give back to the world. Good times resulting from the understanding of this major change in what you're putting out in the world. Again, major change, ascension energies. We're in this beautiful corridor of energy right now. And you know who's really good at breaking this down is, I have to give a shout out to S.A. Smith, A Girl in the Universe. I love her channel. I love what she brings through. She really actually talks about the specifics behind the ascension and the solar flash, what she sees us experiencing and what it looks like. And she's detailed, and it is so resonant for me. She's really keyed into it. So I want to give a shout out to her channel, and I hope I can get her on my podcast. Fingers crossed, guys. Let's manifest that. I would love to actually bring her onto the podcast and talk to her, because the information she's giving is so high vibrational. It's amazing. It feels resonant. And I appreciate what she's putting out into the world, because she's really helping keep the vibration high. So shout out to SA. Thank you so much. And I hope that you enjoyed this karma card. Continue to focus on your vibration, raising it up, picturing the most ideal version. That's the energy we're being called to right now, is to stand in those higher view of the big picture. And I find that whenever I pull back and I go into my observer self and look at my life from that soul perspective, it is high vibrational. No matter what we're going through at the everyday and the mundane level, there's good things unfolding around us. And sometimes you just have to step back, take the 40,000 foot view, and you'll see it. And with that, I'm wishing you so much love, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. Mwah.